Hi, I'm Brad Tucker with the Atlanta Watch Society, and it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Betrand Meylan, the co-owner of H. Moser Cie and Outlaws. Bienvenue, Betrand.
Merci. Very good pronunciation for my name, which is not often the case, so thank you. Such a pleasure to be here in Atlanta. First time for me to be in Atlanta, and I think it's a great occasion to come for the Atlanta Watch Society.
Well, we're honored to have you. I'd love to ask you a few questions about the company and about yourself, if you don't mind. To start out, what is your history? We know a little bit about Moser's history, the enthusiast community, but what about your history in the business?
If I start very early on, I'm born and raised in La Vallée, which is one of the heart of high watchmaking in Switzerland. My father was working in the watch industry, and more or less everybody that lives there works in the watch industry one way or another. So I'm really born into watchmaking. So when I started to work after university, naturally I went also into working for different brands distribution in different places in Italy, in China, to learn more about watchmaking in general and how the distribution work and what the products, etc. And then in 2012, with my brother, we had the chance to take over H. Moser & Company. That was a company at that time that was in big financial difficulties, and we had the opportunity to try to change it and work on it. And it's what we have been doing since 12 years. I'm more on the distribution side. I take care of the subsidiaries that we have in Shanghai, in Hong Kong, in Dubai, and in New York. And my brother is based in Zurich and take care of the manufacturer in Schaffhausen, and he's the CEO of the brand.
H. Moser has come a long way in 12 years, and certainly you have a lot of visibility in the industry, and I think of you as one of the largest of the independents. And most successful companies have a brand DNA or some key components or I guess key components of their design and of their execution. What is it that you consider to be the core DNA of the Moser brand?
I think there are a few points and few key elements that help and brought the success that we had so far. We still believe it's only the beginning, but where we are today. First of all, it's on the collection and the product side. I think we manage to work on this. We believe a lot in traditional watchmaking and craftsmanship, and we have this beautiful manufacturer in Schaffhausen that help us really do amazing movement with amazing finishing on our watches, which is something quite exceptional, and not many brands of our size have a manufacturer like that. But at the same time, something that was always very important is to bring modernity in terms of look, in terms of how the collections will go. And I think the strength that we have in Moser today is that if you look at any products from the Pioneer Center Seconds to a Streamliner Perpetual Calendar to an Endeavor, there is strong DNA that you will recognize in all our products through our dials with the fumé dials, or the concept dial with absolutely nothing, and the minimalistic approach to it, through the design of the cases. It's something extremely important that whether it's an Endeavor, whether it's a Pioneer, people will recognize, oh, you're wearing a Moser or you have a Moser on your wrist. The second thing that I think have helped us a lot to develop and get the success was also we did marketing differently. We try to we always been a bit considered as a maverick in the watch industry because we had this approach on products, but also on communication to come with different ideas. From the Swiss Alp watch now 8 years ago, that was something very different, with advertising that was very different, that made us known by a lot of people. Maybe at that time they're not ready to buy it, but at least they were giving attention to the brand. When we did the Swiss Mad watch, when we did all that together, brought a lot of attention to the brand. And I think it's those elements plus a very strong community, or we call it the Moser family, link that to the fact that we are not only family owned but family run. It's extremely rare, very rare in the watch industry. Created a very strong community around the brand that help us build a wider community with time, and I think all those key elements have helped developing the brand very well in the last 12 years.
Well, it speaks greatly to your brand that you can sell and feel strongly enough about your DNA that you can market a watch that doesn't even have your name on the dial,
Exactly.
and people still know what it is. So
Exactly.
kudos for a very pure DNA.
And that's something important because it shows the brand name on the dial is purely a marketing aspect to it that we don't understand why you need it to have a big logo on it. Your product should be strong enough that you don't need it on it. And majority of the strong brands today don't need it actually. You will recognize a lot of brands without a logo. So why does it keep on it? Always surprise us, and we're very happy and proud that we don't need it today.
Well, you mentioned the Moser family, and I think people in the enthusiast community certainly recognize H. Moser very quickly. But you also have a brand that is perhaps less well known, and that is the Haute brand.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit with us about Haute and what your vision is for that brand?
Of course. What is interesting about Haute, so it's also a brand we took in the similar time than Moser 12 years ago as well. That was also in difficulty at that time. And it's really one of the pioneer of what we call the indies, those brands that came end of the 19th, early of the 2000 years. Very creative, very different way of giving time with this kinetic that you would see on the Haute. We always try to think of how we can create a different way of reading time, which is fun for us because we work on a certain way on Moser, but we have the opportunity also to go in a completely other creative way with Haute. It's quite a niche brand. We're producing around 150 watches a year.
Wow.
But with all of them having really a particularity, with like the only three-dimensional hour that you will find in the watch industry, with this sphere that look like it's getting lost, but always give the right time at the end, with a linear hour, etc. So very on our side, it's really a brand that we enjoy working on, that is very for selective collectors that want something different, want something that really not everybody have, and that have fun looking at this kinetic on the watch.
I think about things about watches and about the watches I own maybe a little differently than some. I was in the car business for many years, and anybody who owns a car knows that you have to get your car serviced sooner or later. But I don't know that people always think about that when they purchase a watch.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think that Moser does that's different than many Swiss brands, and especially smaller Swiss brands, is that you have U.S. servicing available for the watches that people own in the United States. So they don't necessarily have to go back to the atelier in Schaffhausen for service. What was your thinking behind that? Was that intentional, or did it just kind of happen because it was easy?
No, it's the objective is to have more the brand is growing. Typically we opened our office now 2.5 years, 3 years ago in the US. We believe we need to be closer to our key markets. US typically is our biggest country in the world, biggest market in the world. So it was very important for us to have a service center here. We have also one in Hong Kong, we have one in Dubai, we have one in China now. So in all the key places we have service centers that help us be more efficient on that side. We don't believe in just selling a watch. Whatever happens after, it's not that important, and they need to find a way to send it back to Switzerland, and it will take months and months and months before coming back. We believe it's part of building our business, it's part of making sure we can service our customers the best way possible. They need to always have a good experience with Moser, which is not always easy with after-sales service, as you know. It's often more on so as long as you do all your best to give the best possible service, I think we managed to not have too much bad experience with that. And yes, it's key in building our business.
It's interesting that you mention that, because it leads into another question I have about this. Since you are involved and interested and concerned about your owner's experience after the sale, that also kind of leads into the pre-owned space, because people may wish to replace one Moser with another Moser, or
with other brands. Yes.
Well, no, not possible. But do you feel that there is a value in your company being involved in the pre-owned space, or do you feel like primarily that selling the watch originally and then standing behind it long-term, regardless of ownership, is really the primary responsibility for the company?
Pre-owned is not an easy business for a company like us to really manage. We're trying to see. We believe in the future, companies like us needs to really have almost a dedicated team that will help managing that. On a size like us, it's something that is not easy. However, we strongly believe that we need to protect every product that come out of the company, meaning that it needs to keep a certain value, it needs to have a traceability for customers that want to buy it in 2-3 years, or like you say, the exchange. Or we, as a company, have the responsibility that if there is any problem with the watch, we will be there. Whether it's a new one or a secondary one, it's not our problem. We will be there for the customer in any occasion, while trying to also maintain a certain value to all our pieces is something that is important. Not every watch should we sell at crazy prices. However, I think it's important for watch brands to try to maintain a certain value to all your products.
Certainly. So it's a big investment for the collector.
It's a big investment for the collector. Now, again, not everybody can expect that every product, like any other products, that every product will resell for 3 times the price in 5 years. However, I think, first of all, if you control well your brand, you control, as we always say, we're trying to produce at least one watch less than what the demand will be on the market, and it should be even much more than that. So it's something that the brand needs to control and try to be careful to never overproduce any of our collections, while continue to build more people or more desirability to the customers and build a bigger community.
Well, and along that line, I think you have historically said and actually done or followed through on the statements that after a certain number of units, you discontinue your production to protect the collector who has made that investment, so that they know and they experience that you're not just going to make the same watch for 10, 15, 20 years.
We never do. We try to keep, we're hoping that a couple of pieces will stay very long, but we believe every product have a life cycle, and majority of the brands will go through a full life cycle with a product. And we believe, it's our opinion and business strategy, it's a mistake. We believe that we should stop before the head of the curve. A product should be stopped, and that's what we try to do with all our products. It's to find the right moment that, it can be 1 year, it can be 2 years, it can be 3 years, that without saying at the beginning, so nobody knows usually. We don't even know when we launch a product how long it will last in our collection. But it's our responsibility to stop it on the right time. Plus, it forces us to be creative, because we need to replace those products. So it forces us to continue to be creative every year, to come up with new products every year, so that we can stop others and come with other creative ones. Like this year we did the new Pioneer Citrus, for example, was to replace the Pioneer Centoseconds 43mm in Swiss Mad Red and the Funky Blue, because we thought it was the right time to stop them, but we wanted something very different, really striking, and we came with something that is very different from what is existing. But it pushes us to think about, okay, we did that, we could do another color of dial again, but we decided to go on another design or another work. It's a piece we designed with my brother overnight once, because we were not happy with the piece we were supposed to launch, because we thought it was too conservative. And we're like, no, let's be crazier. And I think it came with a piece that is quite unusual.
Well, your company has always been a disruptor in the marketplace. You mentioned earlier your marketing, and I've certainly followed with a great deal of enjoyment some of the creative ways that you have built brand recognition, and also maybe poked a little fun at some of the tropes of your industry and the Swiss watch hobby. But as your company has matured, recently you stepped into what I would call a much more traditional marketing arena by connecting and partnering with the Alpine Formula One team.
Yes.
That's a pivot from that type of primarily social media driven marketing that so many small independent watch companies do. What was the motivation behind that, and what does success look like to you in that partnership?
There are two things. First of all, I think it's important that we try to keep our tone of voice a certain way, or continue to do what we have been doing good in the past. So doing new things like the partnership in Formula One doesn't mean we should not continue to do how we are doing our social media, or come with campaigns that are a bit disruptive, as you were mentioning. I think it's important, and a lot of our community is asking, like, don't lose that part. So we need to try our best not to lose that part. But at the same time, Formula One came a bit unexpected. They contacted us 6 months ago. Because the CEO of Renault, who's the owner of Alpine, the company that is the owner of Alpine, is a big watch lover and loves Moser, and he told them we need a new watch company to sponsor us, and I want Moser to be this team. So they contacted us like, are you willing to talk? We're like, I thought it was a joke, but then we're like, okay, let's talk. Why not? Nothing to lose. And our father is a big Alpine fan. He owns vintage 1972 Berlinette Alpine that he still do old car rally with. And
is that an A110? Is that an A110?
Yes, but
yes.
And he has a recent one as well now. He has that for 6-7 years. So it's not something new. So it's always been. So when we told them that as well, we're like, by the way, our father is a big Alpine fanatic, and we grew with Alpine around us when we were kids and things like that. So when they contacted, we were like, of course we would love to. Let's see how we can do it. And it's a great partnership because we believe they're a bit the underdog of the Formula One. We believe we've been and we are underdog in the watch industry. So we thought it goes well together, and it gave us, first of all, great visibility, but most importantly, it gave us a great experience. Typically this weekend we took guests to the Formula One in Miami. It was absolutely amazing. All our guests were so excited about what they see, and Alpine go the extra mile with us, really taking care of our guests, taking them around in the garage, in on the team side, etc. So yeah, we're very happy with that. And now we've been launching the first Alpine edition. The particularity of that as well, because from day one we told them we don't do things like everybody else. So we're not going to have a big Alpine on a watch and do. And if you look, it's probably the first time in Formula One that you have a watch coming out with absolutely no logo, no Alpine, no Moser on the front, just discreetly at the back that it's written Moser and Alpine. Yeah, so they accepted and understood all that part. And I think that shows also maturity on their side and what they were looking for in the partnership with us. They always tell us, like, we want you to push the partnership, we want you to push the boundaries on that. And I think to find a team that is willing to associate themselves in that way was an amazing opportunity. But as mentioned, it doesn't mean we don't need to continue to do what we do well as well.
True. You mentioned the fact that as a partnership that they kind of share a philosophy and values with you. And one of the things that I think Moser does that a lot of Swiss companies or Swiss watch companies don't do is you're very transparent about who you work with, and of course much of what you do completely on your own because you're so well integrated as a manufacturer. But most companies don't like saying I work with someone else.
Yeah.
But you're not like that, and in particular, you've done a great deal of work with Max Busser and MB&F.
He's one of the only one that he's the only one on the hairspring side. We work for 25 or 26 or even more now companies for hairsprings, and the only one that is willing that we speak about it is Max, because we are friends and we are in the Max Busser and friends. So yes, sure. He's open about it.
But even beyond his acknowledgement of the use of your hairsprings, you've done collaborative watches together. What is it that leads you in particular to want to do co-branded products with Max and his team?
It was we close with Max for many years. We love what he does. We love what his team does as well. I think the brand is absolutely amazing. One of the best independent brand you will find on the market, and we are very different. This is what also makes it interesting. We are very different in our way of working, in our way of designing watches or what we want to do, which makes collaboration even better. And for collaboration to work, you really need both teams to want to have this work together. And if you look, we did it twice, so it shows that the collaboration between both teams is good. The first one was extremely successful, and so we called each other, I think a couple of years ago. We're like, okay, what's next? We should do something again. And we're like, it will not be fun to do a collection again. Let's focus, let's do only watch. Let's find the great ideas for only watch. And we worked together back and forth, and we came with the Pandemonium for only watch that is coming out tomorrow, actually. The auction will be tomorrow, so let's hope something good.
I had forgotten it was tomorrow. I know what I'll be doing in the morning.
8 a.m.
Okay.
Your time. So
that's good. No problem.
Yes.
Compared to Hong Kong, that's easy.
Exactly.
You mentioned the hairsprings and the fact that you supply so many other companies. One of the things that I think of when I think of H. Moser is I think of complications. And I think of the fact that you guys push horological boundaries. What's left? You guys have done a number of different kinds. You have a great perpetual calendar. You have a cylindrical hairspring tourbillon. What complications are there left to do, or that you would like to explore?
There are many. I believe still many we can do. We're working. Not sure how much I can say today, but we're working on a great one for the 200 years anniversary of the brand in 2028. But that's a big project, so you see we've already been working on it for a couple of years now, and hopefully it will be ready by 2028. So I still believe there are many things we can develop, but also in which are not always the easiest, smaller complication that are at an attractive price. That's something that is important for us. I think a great part of the success of Moser is that we think we're trying to offer as much value for money in our products. And that means we need to create great smaller complication, but at an affordable price as well. That without going into too crazy prices, you can have a fun, nice complication on a Moser watch, and that's not easy to make either. Everybody think that ground complication are the hardest. Of course, they are very hard to develop and make. That's why not many brands have it. But also smaller complication that you can produce in certain amount and level are difficult to develop as well. And but that's the sort of things we love to do as well and develop.
Terrific. Well, thanks. We're glad you do that.
Yes.
Bertrand, thank you so much for spending the time with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Looking forward to a great event here in Atlanta.
Thank you.
Thank you.